Okay guys, so this is the 7Hz Dioko Planar IEM tuned by Crinacle. And what I can say now is that I thoroughly enjoyed listening to this IEM and they are fantastic. Hi guys, my name's Ian. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I do mostly audio and gadget product reviews, and if you guys are interested in this type of content, do consider to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell so that you get notified of my future videos. Alright, so let's get right into the review. First, I'll go through the accessories, then the fit and comfort of these IEMs, and of course the sound performance of these IEMs. These are now retailing for 99 US dollars, and man, can I say that for 99 US dollars for Planar, it's just mind-blowing and it's really fantastic. For the price that you're paying, I think it's well worth the money. And if you guys are interested, do check out Linsoul's website. I'll leave a link down in the description below so that you guys can go check it out yourself. Alright, so let's go through the accessories and then the fit and comfort, and of course the sound performance of these IEMs. Alright, so it comes in a box like this. Very nice box, and it's got Crinacle's logo on it with 7Hz and the name of the IEM. So the box is pretty okay, but inside this box is what matters, and it's got a really nice case. And in fact, the size of the case is the size of the box, right? This carrying case, inside it's got this furry feel to it, and it's got sort of like a compartment, a crate inside whereby you can actually coil up your cable and then your IEM to be placed here. You've got a pocket here, a mesh pocket whereby you can put your ear tips, which is a lot. Okay, so this carrying case is huge, right? So I don't know if I'm gonna carry this around, but it's big, right? So this is a huge case, right? But it is hard, right? It's a hard case. It protects your IEM, protects the cable as well, and protects whatever that you put inside this case. Pretty nice case, all right? The zipper is nice and good. Yeah, but it's not leather, so but I mean it's synthetic, so it's pretty okay, right? So case is good. And it comes with some paperworks, or yeah, but let's go through the specs. I mean, specs is in Chinese, but very briefly, right? The impedance is 16 ohms, the sensitivity is 106, and the frequency response is 5 to 40,000 hertz. Okay, so very brief specs, but as you can see, 16 ohms, so it's not gonna be easy to drive this planar IEM, which is expected. And the tips, all right, so on the IEM itself, it comes with this rather sticky ear tip, right? So this ear tip is more on the sticky side, all right, grippy side, right? So I got a very grippy feel to it. It's kind of a wide bore ear tip, okay? And then it comes with 6 other ear tips, right? And 2 different types, right? So you have your narrow bore ear tip, which is this one. It's full of color, so you can actually differentiate the different ear tips that you've been using, and you can remember by color. So yeah, so you have your narrow bore and your wide bore, or normal bore. I wouldn't say wide bore, all right? So your narrow bore ear tip is pretty narrow, I would say. The narrow is pretty narrow, and the normal bore is pretty okay, but the color is nice. I like the rainbow color of it. On the inside, it's got the hard core in the middle. So yeah, pretty nice ear tips, I would say. I like the ear tips, and fits the IEM pretty well. Okay, now let's take a look at the IEM themselves, and these are huge. Okay, I would say these IEMs, they are huge. They got a very huge shell. Okay, the faceplate is pretty unique. It's got a glass faceplate here with more like a holographic effect with a magnified impression of the color inside. So we've got a purplish hue to the inside of the shell, and of course you got the branding here, cell notes, Dioko, right? and the shell is really huge, right? On the inside, the inner shell is again pretty huge, right? Very huge shell on the inside. We got the 2-pin connector here, and then you have the nozzle, right? So this nozzle is a pretty normal bore. It's not a very wide bore type of nozzle, and some vents here, so it's pretty normal. One thing I missed out is the cable, right? So this cable is a very thick cable, right? So this is a 4-core cable, braided, right? And with a straight headphone jack, 3.5 headphone jack. Pretty stiff cable, I might say. Very good and sturdy. And on the Y splitter, if I can find it. Yep, so this is the Y splitter. It's made of metal, right? So it's pretty good as well, with the Dioko branding on it. And it comes with a chin slider, so it's a pretty stiff, rugged chin slider, so it stays in place. Very nice chin slider. And the ear hooks are pretty stiff as well, so it actually holds the IEM in place. So very good, right? 2-pin connector here. So this is not sleeved, so it's pretty okay, pretty good 2-pin connectors. Okay, so let's go back to the IEM itself. So yeah, so the shell is pretty huge. Now let's talk about the fit and comfort of these IEMs. All right, so now it doesn't really fit my ear very well. All right, so maybe it's a little bit too big for my ear, but yeah, it doesn't go all the way in. And in terms of my ear cavity, the shape of my ear, I mean, this one really depends on everyone's ear. Everyone's ear is different, so unfortunately my ear maybe is a little bit too small, so it doesn't really fit my ear that well. Okay, but it doesn't give me any fatigue. All right, no fatigue at all. There's a lot of nice curves on the inside, nice and curvy, and you know, it's not, there's no sharp edges, and it goes into my ear, yes, but it doesn't stay in my ear, so it's a little bit too big. And the nozzle is also pretty short. It doesn't go all the way into my ear canal, so it doesn't give me any pain. So in terms of fatigue, physical fatigue, I don't get any from this IEM. It's just that the seal gets loose pretty quickly, and then I'll need to readjust the IEM, you know, to get the seal back. Okay, but other than that, it's pretty good, right? It depends on the cable as well. So for this cable, because this ear hook is a pretty stiff ear hook, and it holds the IEM very firmly in place, so it tends to, you know, pull the IEM out from my ear at certain angles. So yeah, I mean, it's just my ear, okay? But other than that, there's no problems with the comfort. It feels very comfortable. It's just the fit is a little bit off for my ears. Okay, so let's talk about the sound, and for that, let me bring out my graph. As you guys know, I've already measured this IEM, and let's talk about the performance of these IEMs. So be right back. Okay guys, so I'm back and I have my graph in front of me, and I just want to remind you that this is planar IEM. So planar IEMs, they graph a little bit different from dynamic driver IEMs, and if you look at the graph, you know, it's not very straight or very smooth graph, right? They tend to, because they tend to be very sensitive, right? So the graph is a little bit, you know, rough, but it is how it is. Okay, so for this Dioko, right, this Dioko, it's quite a linear and balanced tuning, right? So you can see that the graph is pretty flat except for the treble, which I'll talk about later. All right, but let's talk about the technicalities of these IEMs, and man, am I impressed by the technicalities on these IEMs, right? The sound that these produce, oh my god, is amazing. Is crystal clear sound, right? The full sound is different, is very different from dynamic driver, and the sound that this Planar produce is just on another level, right? So if you've never heard of a Planar IEM before, I do suggest to go try it out, and you hear that sound difference, all right, in terms of the difference with dynamic drivers, all right. These are really on a different quality and sound reproduction in terms of Planar. I mean, of course, there's a difference in terms of the tone and the timbre, but we'll get into that later. But in terms of performance and the sound quality that these Planar IEMs produce, it's just fantastic, right? Crystal clear sound. Now, in terms of the soundstage, again, it's really good. Very wide soundstage, got very nice air to the soundstage, and it's very wide soundstage, very deep, and very layered as well. So in terms of soundstage, you're gonna be surprised with the soundstage on these Diokos. They've got very good and airy soundstage whereby it goes really deep, and it's got very nice sound separation, right? Instruments are well separated, well positioned, and you can actually hear the different positions of the instruments, and of course the detail retrieval and the resolution is fantastic as well. You can hear the fullness of the sound, the fullness of the instruments from these IEMs. Okay, so Planar IEMs, I mean, when I listen to this, it's just very different. Okay, so I think in terms of technicalities, these don't disappoint, and for $99 I think it's a steal, right? For getting this type of quality, this type of sound reproduction is really good. Okay, so let's talk about the sound signature, which is defines this IEM. Now, looking at the graph, it's basically a pretty linear and balanced tuning, right? Not so much emphasis on the bass, and I mean the mids is a little bit recessed, but it's not that much, right? But the treble, right? Treble is really bright. Okay, so let's talk about the sub bass. Sub bass is got that rumble there. The tone and the timbre of that sub bass is analytical, very clinical, very precise. The rumble is very nice and clear. If you like clarity in terms of the rumble, this is the IEM that you should go for. Very extended as well, good extension, good resonance, and is quality, is basically very pronounced. Okay, in terms of the clarity of the sub bass, not in terms of the forwardness of the sub bass. Okay, it's a little bit shy, I would say. Rumble is a little bit shy. It's not a very in your face type of rumble, and it's not a very prominent rumble, but you can feel that it's a very clean rumble and very precise rumble. The mid bass, same thing, right? Mid bass is a very good mid bass. The impact is fast, it's precise, it's got that analytical and clean type of impact and punch. So I feel that it's a little bit shy. All right, the mid bass is a little bit shy, but it's there, right? It's good. It's just enough for my liking, right? Depends on what preference you have, but for me, I find that the bass is not overwhelming at all. It's just nice. It's got a nice tone as well, very light and very clean, natural tone to the bass, right? So bass is good, right? I like this type of bass. And the mids, well, man, this mids is fantastic, right? So in terms of the mids, the instruments are really forward and really nice and clear and very precise. I like the sound of the pianos. The tone is not a heavy note weight type of sound that this will produce. I find that it's a very precise and natural tone, very natural tone, and very clear, right? Very clear and forward as well. So in terms of the instruments like the pianos, the violins, the trumpets, they all sound very full, right? They sound very full, very precise, and it sounds musical, right? It sounds very musical to my ear. So I like the mids on these Diokos, and they really shine, right, in the entire mix itself. For vocals, so vocals, same thing. They've got this very analytical tone to it. It's not warm, it's not light, it's not lean, right? It's very musical, right? Somewhere in the middle. Very nice and pleasing to listen to in for the male vocals as well. Is not a heavy authoritative type of male vocal, right? Is there, in fact, is very prominent, all right, but it's good, right? It's clean and very precise and full type of vocals that you're gonna get. Female vocals, they sparkle, man. They really sparkle on these IMs. They really shine. They bring energy to the mix, and when female vocals come into the mix, it really brings the entire track alive. It gives that brightness and that energy to the entire song, which I listen to, and it's really great. I really enjoyed listening to female vocals on these IEMs. Okay, so vocal wise is good, instrument wise is good. It's nice and forward. It's got a very natural tone to it. The bass is not overwhelming, it does not bleed, and the entire balance of the frequency is very good, right? It's not for bass head, I would say. This IM is not for bass head. If you really love your bass and you have bloated bass, then you won't be liking this IM, right? So, but if you want something balanced, this is a very good IM, right? Now let's talk about the treble. Treble is nice and bright and forward and energetic. Cymbal strikes, oh my god. Cymbal strikes, they never sound so clear to me before. Even though, on some dynamic drivers, they sound really clear, but this is on a different level. They are clear, at the same time they are full. You can feel that impact of the cymbal strikes in the hi-hat, and the resonance of that cymbal strike, and the clarity of that cymbal strike, the cleanness of that strike, depending on the track as well, but the cleanliness and the clean sound of that cymbal strike and trumpets, electric guitars, they sound really clean and clear and precise. Okay, so the reproduction of sound on these Diokos, they are really fantastic, especially for the treble. So treble is I would say elevated, right? So if you look at the graph, right, it may look very shouty, but it's not, right? So when I was listening to it, especially at the presence level, it's not a very present type of treble, right? And also the upper mids, right? So upper mids is a little bit rolled off here, but don't be fooled by the graph, all right? Basically the treble is really nice and bright, and it's not shouty, it's not sibilant, and it's not harsh as well, right? So I think planars, they do graph a little bit different from dynamic drivers, but if you look at the graph, it's totally not as what you see, right? Especially for the air, but the air is somewhere correct. It's got an airy feel to it. The cymbal strikes and the hi-hats, they have that nice resonance to the extension of that sound, and it is really a very solid sound and treble that this IEM will produce. Okay, so as you can hear, I like this Dioko IEM very much, even though I'm not too sure if this is the correct tuning. All right, till now I don't know, but as what I hear, as what has been shipped to me, I've not modified or changed any filter on this IEM, and by listening to this, I like it very much, right? It's the kind of treble that I like, kind of bass that I like, the kind of balanced tuning that I like, right? The balance of the all the different frequencies that brings out this IEM. Of course, the technicalities also brings together the entire performance of this IEM, and I can say right now, $99, please go buy it. Right, this is a really great IEM. I'm not shilling on this. I listen to all my tracks, right? I listen to it on my Hip Deck 2. I listen to it on my R5 Gen 2. I listen to all my tracks on my phone as well. It's definitely a good buy. And I would say this is an all-rounder. You can listen to any genre. I listen to all kinds of genre. I throw anything at this and it just plays really well. Okay, so do I recommend it? Hell yes, I do recommend this Dioko. All right, and Crinacle, you did a great job. Kudos to you for tuning this. Very, very nice tuning. Right, so that concludes my impression and my review of this 7Hz Dioko tuned by Crinacle. Right, so that's it. If you guys learned something from this video, or enjoyed watching this video, do consider to give this video a thumbs up, and and subscribe to my channel if you can. Right, so that it's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.